Internet! What's up, Internet? What's going on? How you doing? What's happening, Internet? It's Monday. Oh, it's Monday. I got a case of the Mondays and a big zit right here. Oh, it's Monday, everybody. Hope you're having a fantastically swell Monday like I am. It's going pretty good. Can't complain. Feeling pretty sharp. After a long day of grilling meat and smoking meat and getting all the birthday shenanigans, shenaniganery, whatever you want to call it. Had a bunch of people over yesterday for my birthday. And I'll tell you, pretty fun. Had a pretty darnable good time. I couldn't imagine having a better time. So I probably would have lost my mind had we had a better time. But had a bunch of people over yesterday. Those of you that have been following the news, following what's going on. It was my birthday. And, yeah, so I had a bunch of people over, including some of the Fish fam. Bentley Pascal was here. Kevin Keener was here. Who else is a Fish family? Oh, Potato Bro and Sarah were here. I cooked us some brisket. I cooked us some pork. And I cooked some chickens. Whole chickens, porks, the gambit. And, I don't know. I don't know if anybody had a good time or not, but I did. So that's all that really matters, right? If I have a good time on my birthday, then that means it was a good time, right? So it went pretty well. I was glad to have all the cool people here and have a pretty good time. Money Huns Aquatics is asking, how old am I now? I'm 100 million years old. I'm getting up there, you guys. Getting up there, but I still got my screwdriver here, so I'm feeling all right. Feeling pretty good about it. I'm not concerned. Not concerned too much. Got some really big news coming up this week. If y'all aren't paying attention later this week, that's your fault, but got some really big news coming up for you, and I'm pretty zazzed about it. I can't really be that much more excited than that about that also. But I do have some really good news coming up, which if you're not here later this week, like on Friday, that's your fault. You'll be missing out on some big news coming up. But back to the birthday shenanigans. So I did all the cookout, had a bunch of people over, and I would like to give a big shout-out thank you to Potato Bro for my birthday presents. Thank you very much. Super duper awesome. Thank you very much. I definitely hyper appreciate not only the candy and whatnot, but the candy. Gonna go big on some candy, if you know what I'm saying. I'm gonna get that candy, know what I'm saying. I'm gonna get, then what's the other thing? Bentley Pascal. He brought me some cool new plant additions. So if you guys want to check out what I do with new plants, That will be coming up probably Wednesday or maybe some other day. I don't know. But that'll be coming up pretty soon. Very, what's the word? Trying to think of what the word. Oh, man. Oh, I don't know. He's big timing everybody, I guess. Maybe that's the word I'm thinking. Brought me some cool plants, some rare plants, and I'm pretty excited for that. So we'll have that coming up later up this week. Baby Aquarium says happy 49th. Yeah. Not quite 49, but some people think I'm much around that age, but I'm not. Oh, man. Does that mean I look old? Oh, darn. Well, I got this crazy zit right here going, so, you know, I got that going for me and making me look young. Making me look young. It's working pretty good. Bracken says, happy 100 millionth birthday. Hope to be around till 200 million. Ah, me too. Can't wait. Can't wait for 200 million to roll around. It's a pretty big deal. But let me say hi real quick to a bunch of the people in the chat. Frank Dominguez coming in first on a Monday. It's unbelievable. I even opened it at a different time today, so I was like, I wonder who's going to get it. Well, it was Frank Dominguez, quickly followed by the Turtle Girl. Great job, Turtle Girl. Kyle Paith, Rumbust, and Keith Bordeley coming in right at the beginning. Kevin Keener has changed his screen name to Some Idiot. So if you ever hear me saying Some Idiot, that's me accidentally reading Kevin Keener's. Now his screen name is Some Idiot. Well, that's not helpful, my guy. Now it's going to make people think I'm all pissed off, and I already have the resting bitch face. People gonna think I'm bad mouthing somebody, but it's Kevin. He changed his name. I like it. Not, it's pretty good. It's funny, but just bear in mind that I'm not bad mouthing anybody. Bald and Dangerous is here. Ricab Harris, good to see you. Beck M, which I suppose is short for Rebecca, I would guess. What is this mic stand doing today? It's probably broken. I don't know. Sorry. Quick little side action there. Charlie List is here. Good to see you. Leonie Ballantyne in the house. Candy Overhauls, what's up? Good to see you. Let me scroll through here, try to catch up. If I miss anybody, it's not on purpose. I'm not ignoring anybody, but I just can't read that fast. But Steve Shrimpery is here. Tampa Tom is here. Baby Aquarium is arrived, which is good. Sarah Kanopko, the zombie drummer. Savannah the Aqua Llama. JH Aquatics. Daryl Dimer. Wushu Jimmy Brown. Matthew Waybright. Bentley Pascal. Magic 21 Mom. Master Beta. CRS. Flowerhorn Aquatics. Alvin Alejo. I'm trying to read faster. Joel G from New Zealand. Lord Getface. DMC of the Sea. Oh, guys, there's so many people. Braden's Bettas. Gaddis Aquatics. Oh, there's so many. Okay, I got to go down. I got to scroll down and catch up with the chat. That was fun, though. That was a fun Monday thing. But as you guys know, I think regularly I try to hammer this home here. My gratitude list always includes you guys, the subscribers, the viewers, the tuner-inners, the commenters, the sharers, the chatters, the whatever moniker you guys like to carry. It always makes my gratitude list. Thank you very much. I see Schwisky in the chat here. I see Schwisky in the chat here. If you don't know who Schwisky is, that is Jimmy from the Aquarium Co-op. And boy, howdy, they just uploaded a video on Maboo Studios. So if you haven't looked at Maboo Studios, he does a how to photograph fish tutorial video, which I only got to watch like the first minute of it. And I've got boy, howdy, I'm going to tune into the rest of it and check that out. And I think you guys will definitely, somehow this will accidentally tie in, because the title today says, can I build an aquarium in 30 minutes? And the reason I'm asking that question is because, did I manage to build an aquarium in 30 minutes Yes, I did. It's real small. It's the nano of the nano. And the big reason for having constructed this janky aquarium right here, I wanted to see how fast I could do it, first of all. Second of all, the main reason I did it is actually for photography, you guys. It's for this. We're going to be running through, messing around, building this little janky aquarium, which it needs some help still. It needs some more polishing. I think next time I'll take an hour instead of a half an hour and make it a little prettier. But I just wanted to do a little test run here, make a little cube that I could, you know, worst case scenario, I could just stick paintbrushes in this or whatever, or, you know, old nuts and bolts or something like that. Because I got to build a bunch of these for some a project that I'm doing in my shop. So this one actually does hold water. You can see it's still wet. So it's still wet because I water tested it. It does hold water, and the funny thing is, while I was water testing this, I actually flooded the fish room because I was refilling the reef tank and flooded the fish room. So it has been a string of a Monday here for sure. A lot of goofy nonsense going on over here on my end of my neck of the woods, but needless to say, managed to get that sort of cleaned up. There'll just be a little bit less to do with that, but that will be the video portion today. We'll talk about building that little aquarium. I'll show you what else goes along with this, and this is the cheapest, most ghetto thing that I could acquire to accompany a little cube like this, and it is my birthday present to myself. It's one part of my birthday present, and I will show you the other part of my birthday present, which Jimmy was just talking about in the chat. He's spoiling it, but that's not a bad thing because we're a community here, and I think it's pretty funny when Jimmy comes in and spoils it for you, because it could be way worse, you know what I mean? But I forgot it over there, so let me grab it real quick. All right, so I'm actually going to show it to you guys right now because I want to accentuate this crazy zit I got on my head here. Wait, where is it? How do I frame it in? That's all right. I can't get it. I'm sorry. I see myself on the monitor over there. I'm like, God, that zit is gangster. But this right here is going to be one of the things that I'll be playing with doing photography over the next, over probably the next long haul, I guess, unless I'm really terrible at it. Right? Like if I'm really terrible at trying to get cool pictures with this, then I'll probably stop. But I'm going to be utilizing this in conjunction with this little cube, right? Getting crazy pictures of like fish and shrimps and stuff like that. And then the super ghetto, ultra ghetto light box I got here. This and this were my birthday presents to myself. Totaling a grand total of $23. So, honestly, I spent all of my birthday money on meat and food for everybody to come over and have food yesterday. So, I don't know. Hopefully that went over well. I ate a bunch of cake and pie. My friend Celia, who is an awesome, like, #1 baker, baked me a pie. Triple berry action. Super rad. It was definitely a good, that was a delicious pie. And then I had chocolate raspberry cake because, boy howdy, it was my birthday. So I also had some candy. I feel like I had diabetes when I got up this morning. But well worth it. And like I said, I spent the rest of my, the rest of my birthday funds that I set aside for so that I could barbecue for everybody. So I think it worked out pretty well. And Bentley says, gonna say that pork was gangster. I think the pork came out pretty good. I think my brisket needed a little more time, but it was time to eat. So we ate it. It was still good. So, but other than that, chicken was spot, pork was spot, brisket probably needed another, half an hour or something like that. So it was a little toothy, but pretty darn, I think it worked out pretty well. And, I didn't charge anybody admission or anything like that. So it was pretty good. You know what I mean? Yeah. Spredoinkle's asking, did that ball belong to Bowie? And I will admit, I have a newfound respect for David Bowie's contact juggling, because I'm not saying that this weighs a lot, but it is a hefty little ball. And I do not even think I could manage to do any of the contact juggling. I was making a joke, and if no one knows what I'm talking about, David Bowie would like roll this thing around all crazy, and he was just a gangster like that. And if you're not a fan of David Bowie, I don't know what's wrong with you, but I'm a huge fan of David Bowie, always have been. Yeah. Kevin Keener is in the chat. I also got to say thank you to Kevin Keener for coming out. The flowers were amazing. He brought some super awesome flowers, and like a dingleberry, I didn't even notice that he had popped a gift card in there. It took the almighty observational powers of my beautiful, lovely, amazing spouse, Vicky Toria, to go, hey, there's a gift card in here for you. Here you go. And I'm like, what? I didn't even know. I didn't even know what was happening. And so thank you very much, Kevin. I also got some extra backup reinforcement, Mr. Browns, from our local aquarium co-op crew, a.k.a. Jiminy McJiminyton. Yeah, other than that, boy, I just got to hang out all day and talk to a bunch of my favorite people, which was great. It was fantastic, and I had a great time, man. I can't think of a better way to spend a day, just eating food with friends and just hanging out and just shooting the bull, So overall, I have to say that was the biggest present for my birthday. I know that that part gets overlooked a lot, but I'm really appreciative of the people that actually they show up. They take time out of their day to come, just hang out and spend time. I feel like that's the biggest present for me. People that actually just go like, oh, hey, cool, yeah, Sunday, yeah, I'll come over to your house for a couple hours and we'll hang out and just come by. Which these days is just, I think that goes to like underappreciated and undervalued. But I feel like that's the biggest value, is actually just getting the chance to spend time with people that I really enjoy. I was joking. Well, it's been an ongoing joke recently that like I spend more time talking with Mr. Chips than I do like any other person. And I realized that like there is some accuracy to that, because oftentimes like when I'm spending hours painting on a painting like that, Mr. Chips just hang out on my lap, and I just kind of chat with him while I'm painting, and he's a good conversationalist because he just listens, he'll give you the side eye, he'll give you the winky face, he'll give you the underbite, and I don't know where he is right now, but he hates it when I'm broadcasting. Hey, Mr. Chips. Hi, ma'am. Mr. Chips. I don't know. He's probably sleeping again. He's having a rough day, doing all them doggy stuff. KG Cyclist says Jimmy only came from the food. Well, maybe, but he did do some filming, so maybe you guys will get a behind-the-scenes video from the old Schwisky Vision or something like that, and you guys can be like, oh, wow, the fish fam, oh, day, and then it would be pretty cool. Let's see here. We shall. Oh, sorry guys, I'm a little off my game. It's Monday here, and I ate a lot of food yesterday. Well, we got 3 super chats. We got one from LG3 Nation. What is up, LG3? It's been a while since I've noticed you in the chat, but he says lurker mode activated. So maybe that's why he's just been lurking. He's just been being super busy, which is good. But LG3 Nation, I appreciate it very much. Jeff Rose Fish Keeping with a happy late birthday super chat. Jeff Rose is still. I don't know if I was able to pop in on his live stream this weekend or not, but I try to. You know, I get so many notifications from YouTube. Sometimes it's like hellaciously confusing. Sometimes I'm like, dude, what is going on? You know, I'm like, what's happening? This thing is beeping at me, and it's got things. It's got lights and bells and whistles and things going on. What is going on here? Let me check out with, what is this thing doing? I'm getting an alert over here from this thing. Something's happening, you guys. Oh my gosh. What is it? It's the internet. Oh. All right, hold on. What's this thing doing? Oh, Nisi of the North was asking if we were going live today. Nisi? Yes. Yes, we're going live today. Yeah. Hold on, let me turn this thing back on. All right, there we go. We've also got a super chat from Aaron Eustace asking, how do I get the painting? How do I get that painting? Well, you can't get that painting because that one's for a specific person. That one right there is a specific person, if you know what I'm saying. That painting is a shrimp that is owned by a fella out in the Midwest. So it's the worst kind of good kind of commission, you know what I mean? So I'll be making that for somebody who lives out in the Midwest, and I've been trying to fit all of my spare time into painting, of which it's making it a little bit easier right now because the weather is terrifyingly bad. We have the sideways pouring rain again today, so it's been a little bit chaotic as far as the weather goes. But how do you get a painting? You can email me, joel@darkstararts.com. We can figure something out. Sometimes people are lucky to get in on if I'm going to do a whole series of paintings. So like, Bentley and I were talking about this yesterday. He wants to get he wants to get a rainbow fish painting. Sometimes I'll do a series, like I'll do a bunch of the same kind of thing. Like if I was to do a bunch of different kinds of rainbow fish, I can, have the layout and be working on a whole bunch of them instead of just one at a time. But that's kind of few and far between these days because, as Frank was asking earlier, if I am going to Germany, yes, I am going to Germany for the Interzoo convention. If anybody has ever seen the Interzoo convention or maybe seen it online, if you ever seen it online or if you've ever seen it in person, I will be there. And Corby from the Aquarium Co-op, he'll be there with me. We are going to fly over there together. We are going to be flying to the Interzoo convention, the Aquarium convention and pet stuff convention. So there's not just aquarium stuff there. There's also a bunch of other pet stuff. So it's the huge convention for that is out in Germany. It's a huge convention. It's all the pet stuff. So actually they have like dog stuff, reptile stuff, bird stuff, aquarium stuff, whatnot. But it's basically just like all of the new stuff that's coming out for the next year from all those people that do pet stuff. So whatever it could be. Obviously, I'm going to be hanging around quite a bit in the aquarium area and stuff. But if you're out in the Europe, whatever the Europe is, that will be the closest location that you'll be able to, you know, just be wandering around and, for instance, run into myself. Like maybe you're in England, you might have to take a little flight or maybe like a weird long train ride to Germany and be like, what up? I'm at the Inner Zoo conventions. So they'll have it all there, and then they will be there with all these crazy like displays and stuff. So there's going to be a bunch of people presenting, and I don't really understand. It sounds like a whirlwind tour of the Inner Zoo. They said there's over 2,000 like representative booths or something or whatever. However, how do you put that? How does that get put? So there'd be like over 2,000 booths, right? But they all have representation, right? So they all have representation and like a display, which would be cool if everybody has sandwiches and stuff like that. Because I'd be excited. I hear wind that there are some big booths that like even have food at them, like they have them catered. So, you guys know that I'll be straight freaking if people be handing out free food, man. I'm gonna be into that. Like, dude, what do you got here? You got croquettes? Let me try that. Oh, there we go. Leone Ballantyne has got it. Exhibits, yes. So there'll be like over 2,000 exhibits there. So I think there'll be a lot of stuff there for a lot of people. So if you do happen to be, in Europe, it's a great opportunity. Now, right before that, we'll be at the American Livebearer Association in Grand Rapids, Michigan. So, if you happen to be in the United States, the weekend previous to that, you could run into Kobe and myself in Grand Rapids, Michigan. And you could be like, hey, there they are over there. I see them with my eyeballs. You'll be like, cool, man, there they are. They're right over there. And, yeah, you could come over and be like, here's my hand. Hello. I would like to say hello to you. And I'll be like, hello, good sir or madam. And, yeah, so if you actually want to meet us, maybe pick our brain in person, or just say hi and be like, what up, or whatever. So, you know, that I look forward to. I'm definitely playing with this crystal ball quite a bit. This may or may not have a few like clarity flaws in it, but for $10, I'm not mad. It's $10 and they brought it to my house. I didn't even have to go anywhere. They just dropped it off. But let me check in here. We've got a question here from Bracken. We'll try to get to this. Trying to figure out my water chemistry. Best ways to test this on a budget. I'm trying to take my water down to cherry shrimp parameters. Okay, Bracken. The API test kits are the ones that I definitely recommend. I've used API test kits for years. The liquid test kits are great. I know a lot of people out there endorse the test strips. I know some of them are good, some of them are bad. I don't rely on test strips that much personally, even though they are really easy to use. I've seen a lot of weird, quality control issues and stuff like that. Oftentimes people like leave them on a shelf and maybe the sun is hitting it a bunch and they never know because they're like off at work. And so when they're off at work, maybe it's getting direct sunlight on it all the time and it gets super heated up and then they dry out and then they don't work right. And then they test their water and they're like, oh, look, my water's fine. But actually the test strips aren't working properly. So you could definitely get test strips and go that route, but just make sure that you store them like perfectly. And if you are going to get liquid test kits like I do, what is going on with this chair? All right, here we go. I think I got it. I had to fix my chair. It's doing something ridiculous. So if you got... All right, I'm sneezing. My chair's screwed up. It's Monday. What up? What do you want me to do? What do you want me to do? My napkin's over here. Guys, I'm a mess. It was my birthday. I'm a mess now. But anyhow, like I was saying, if you go with the test strips, make sure that they're new and not expired, or at least stored properly. You definitely have to keep them cool, out of the sun, all that kind of stuff. You have to definitely make sure that they're fine. But if you're going to use the liquid, like I do, just make sure you're following the instructions to a T, and really following through on exactly what it says to do with those, and then you can get a good idea of what's going on. Water parameters for cherry shrimp really aren't that they really aren't that far off from what I would consider to be relatively easy to maintain. They do have a large pH range that they're pretty happy, that they can be happy with. I mean, you will have to adapt them if you're, say, if you get them from somewhere that raised them up at 7, and say your water's like 7.8, you can pretty readily adapt them to that over time, and it's not going to be that big of a deal if you do maintain a good solid pH throughout the day and night. You are going to be pretty well. So they do take, the cherry shrimp do take a pretty wide range of water parameters, and they're pretty happy with it. So the cherry shrimp are what I typically would recommend to somebody who is starting out, because they do handle so much, such a wide variety of water parameters, and it not really be a problem with them. Well, Kevin's dog ate his API test strips. Apparently, dog saliva messes with the results. Yeah, just like your homework, bro. Let me see here in the chat. Let's see. Oh, okay. Dougie from the UK saying, wish and hope I take some nice footage. Yes, I will be filming a lot when we go to Germany and Michigan. When we go to Michigan and Germany, I will be filming like crazy. I'm going to be missing live streams while I'm gone. I'll see if I can maybe do mobile live streams, something like that. I'm really concerned right now, because I'm not going to be able to upload from the road at this point. Like, I don't even have a laptop. So, I don't really know how that's going to work out, like, if I could try to upload stuff from the road or not, but it seems unlikely at this juncture, because I did mention a little bit earlier that my budget's kind of blown right now. I was, realistically, everything's fine. I'm not worried about it, but I just certainly do not have money to, like, just go pick up a laptop or anything like that at this point. So I am a little bit concerned about what I'm going to do as far as uploading from the road, but I've got some ideas, and we'll see how it goes. Worst case scenario, I come back here and just have to edit them back here, as best I can. But I'm also, editing a bunch of videos to get in the can while I'm gone, so I can just have those upload while they're gone. Bald and Dangerous is asking about a tablet. Yeah, I don't have a tablet either. Well, we do have a tablet, but it's basically just good enough for, like, watching videos on the airplane. That's pretty much about all it's good for. As you guys, people that have been following my channel for a long time know that I had to rebuild a new computer and stuff like that. So that really is just the, where that budget went and everything is, so I'm not concerned about it. Like, it's not a big deal. I just don't have any contingency plan right now, as far as, like, going to buy a laptop. So I just can't afford it. But I do have all my camera equipment and all that stuff, so I'll be rocking and rolling as legit as I can. And, get that done and see how it goes. I don't have an editor, so I can't like upload footage and send it back to, you know, like on a VPN or anything like that. But, you know, Michael Moncourt is late. He had to drop off his tax returns. Oh, that's right. Yeah, if you haven't done your taxes yet, I believe tomorrow is the deadline. Typically, my birthday is the deadline, but it's on the weekend. It's on the weekend now. So, or my birthday was on the weekend, so now I think it's the 17th was the day I think that they decided to put it on this year, but it's normally on my birthday. Mateo's asking, how do I watch nonsense? I don't watch that. So that's how I do it. I don't watch that kind of garbage. Let's see. Karen Pepe says I couldn't watch any lives or watch any streams live for a few days. No cell service and was away from Wi-Fi. Oh, that's not bad. I'm actually looking forward to. Jimmy was mentioning earlier that Victoria is currently booking a trip where we're going to go up in the mountains. We're going to be going up in the mountains. It's going to be Jiminy. So far, it's just me and Jimmy and Victoria, and maybe some other people will come. I don't know. We'll see if anybody else is coming. It was a hot topic yesterday during the birthday bash barbecue, and so we'll see how many people can go. We'll see how many people can go to that camping trip, but I do look forward to getting off the grid a little bit. Joel Gillett's got to go. I don't know where he's going. It's not a big deal. Who said Who Aqua is building a new 195 square foot fish room with a 120, a 40, a 120, and almost everything auto with the Apex controller. Oh, that's cool. Yeah. Awesome. It's pretty similar to my fish room. I know some people that hadn't been here before were here yesterday, like Kevin Keener, and Bentley Pascal was here. Just like, I'm having brain farts today, you guys. They're like, yeah, this isn't that big of a room. And I'm like, yeah, it's not. But I definitely talked to him yesterday about some secret surprises that will probably be coming up with not an expansion on my fish room, but basically I'll be redoing some stuff in my fish room. And that's lightly associated with the flood that was today. I'll be making some changes, but as I mentioned, that the weather has just been nonsense. So, I've got a few projects around the house here that I got to finish, like for the chickening and that kind of stuff. And then we're going to be flying away. We're going to be flying away to Germany and stuff like that. So I'm not going to be able to work on any of that while I'm gone. But hopefully I'll be staged up for it by the time I get back. I'm just looking at the schedule here and realizing that, like, we leave for Michigan in just over 2 weeks, and then we go to Germany. So that's coming up hot and fast. So we'll see how well that we'll see how well everything comes together in the timeline that we got going. I got a bunch of people messaging me right now. I don't know what's going on. Did something happen? Oh no, Arlie Ermey passed away. Oh no. That's awful. Oh, I hate to see it. I hate to hear that. Arlie Ermey passed away today, you guys. And if you don't know who Arlie Ermey is, he's the guy from, he's the drill sergeant from Full Metal Jacket, which, by the way, is one of my favorite films of all time. And, that sucks. That's kind of weird. I mean, it says here he's only 74. Yeah, I guess that's old enough. But that's kind of tragic. Bare Bottoms Aquarium is asking, will I paint personal portraits? Yes. The mainstay of what I do is portraits of people. That's most commonly what I paint. most commonly what I paint is portraits. That's kind of the mainstay of, like, you know, work that I do for people, or even really for myself. Master Beta said, oh, and Art Bell passed away this weekend too. Yeah. If you don't know who Art Bell is, you go check him out. That's the Coast to Coast. Used to listen to him a lot. Yeah, and 74 is pretty young. Agreed. It's pretty young to pass away, but it's also not 20, you know. But yeah, I guess he complications with pneumonia, which is kind of a drag. Let's see. JH Aquaponics was asking if Aquapros made it to the barbecue. No, Aquapros was big time in everybody. He was big time in everybody. It's too important to come to a goofy barbecue. No, I think he was just booked up. But thanks to you guys for utilizing. If you are going to be buying something from the Aquarium Co-op, which I highly recommend, they're great guys out there. If you don't know who Corby is, all those guys, you could drive over there, and maybe you don't like Corey, maybe you don't like Jimmy, I don't know, but you could like a Robbie, you could like, I call him Robbie, Robert, you could like Robert and Allie, who are the mainstays in the front of the store there. Also, Dorkula, a bunch of other people, you know, so, you know, you get all the flavors of humans if you head on over there. But thanks for you guys utilizing the, basically the affiliate link. If you are going to buy something from the Aquarium Co-op, run through that affiliate link, and then I can give Aquapros more crap for not showing up to my barbecue, and in conjunction with competing affiliate-wise. It's just a gentleman's wager. It's just a good time to give him crap. It's fun. But he is a good dude, and if you are looking for some videos from Aquarium Co-op, or from Aquapros or Aquarium Co-op, either way, whatever one you want to go see, go check those out. And yeah, so okay, let's get on to the video, because it's not edited and it's kind of long, and I gotta figure out what's up with it. Let's go to the video. Whoo! All right. Yeah. Did it start at the beginning? No, it didn't start at the beginning. Okay. We got to go back. Go back to the beginning. I didn't edit this, so if you guys see me, like, fart or something, you know, it's not my fault. Hopefully I didn't ruin the sound. Did I ruin the sound? I don't know. I guess I didn't ruin the sound. Nope, looks like sound's running good. Okay. Just had to double check. All right, so what I'm building here in this video is this little aquarium right here. Little tiny box. Nothing really too fancy about it, but I did need to build a little box. And the reason for this little box is to see, or not to see, so that I could build it, so that I could stick like a shrimp in here, I could stick a fish in here, and I could also, you know, test my intestinal fortitude and see if I can build myself an aquarium in under 30 minutes, which I'm going to say I was close. I was close to getting it done. And you guys can see the feather go flying off the table saw right there when I fired it up. There is a chicken in here I'm having to navigate around. We have a little sick chicken who is living in the shop for right now. So I don't know if she pops into the picture at all or anything like that, but she's getting a lot better, and taking her to the vet today. Right after the show here, I'm going to go load her into a box and take her over to the vet, get her final checkup, and if she's doing good, then we can definitely put her back in with the flock. But she's still seeming a little floppy and stuff like that, but we'll see how it goes. Now, cutting acrylic, as you can see here, it's white for some reason. Why is it white? It still has the plastic protective coating on it. If you are going to be cutting acrylic and stuff like that, always leave this plastic coating on here. It is a huge help to avoid cracking and chipping and stuff like that, and scratching when you go ahead and run it across the table saw in here and stuff. It will avoid anything from getting scratched. So it's a big help. Definitely leave that plastic coating on there until you are you know, to the finish point when you go time to glue, then that will be time to peel that off. And, you know, you'll be able to see that in the video today. And so as I'm cutting the pieces down, I cut them all to the same size. We need 5. For this tiny tank, it doesn't need a top. This tiny tank does not need a top. Just because it's so small, it's never really going to even be that full of water. So I can actually just do a rimless thing, and it's not going to be full of water for long periods of time. Otherwise, I would have cut a 6th piece. But in the meantime, we cut them all to the same size. And, of course, this didn't start at the beginning, did it? What happened here? I remember something happened. Oh, okay. There we go. So we cut them all to the same size, and then, utilizing the plastic that is still on there, I can write what they're going to be on them. One's the base, one's the front, one is the back. Now, we take the sides, and we're going to have to trim off the amount for the sides, and be able to, what was that? Once we trim the sides down, then we'll be able to fit them in properly. So we need to find the width of the combined of the two, then subtract that, and then make sure to keep them lined up straight so that we know which direction that they're going to go. Terry's Tropical is asking what blade is in the table saw. The blade that's in the table saw right now, the one that I always recommend to people. Let me find it real quick, and I'll throw you a link, my guy. Diablo 84. So this Diablo brand of hold on, let me find it here. Well, that's the question. Do you have a 10-inch or a 12-inch or a 14-inch? What's going on, buddy? So the Diablo Trex blade is the best one that I've found to work for cutting acrylic long term. Otherwise, you can actually just go like, maybe you just need to cut like 2 little cuts or something like that. You can go find like a $10 blade at like the Home Depot that's like a MDF composite blade, which actually just has a bunch of small teeth on it. But this Diablo blade, here's the thing. When I post the links to these blades, these saw blades, oftentimes people just go, "What is wrong with you?" It's like $60 saw blade. Yeah, this is one of the reasons why getting construction done is expensive. This is by far not one of the most expensive blades that I have. I mean, you talk about hot saw blades, they can be $600 just for the blade, and it's gonna wear down. So I feel like $60 isn't that big of a deal. The blade that I literally have on there right now is not this blade because it wasn't on the saw. It wasn't on the saw at the time. And this tiny thing, I really didn't care if I cracked this acrylic. So I'm using a standard blade, but it comes out super rough. It comes out super snaggly. It's not going to look like a finished product necessarily, but I'm not that concerned about it because this thing, I just wanted to see if I could do this in like a half an hour. And it's essentially going to hold water for probably 10, 15, 20 minutes at a time. And I'm going to put it into my light box, which is right here, right? It has lights on the top, and then I'm just going to slide the tank right in here, and then I'll be able to just snap, 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 snap away. And I'm going to be able to take awesome pictures of fish and shrimp and stuff like that. And it's way easier than trying to shoot them in the tank. You try to get pictures of stuff inside the tank is a nightmare. And, I can do it. But the way I look at it is that it might take me 40 minutes to get a perfect shot of a shrimp or something like that. Or I might not even get it because they won't get in a good position. I won't be able to, frame them up with the camera very well. And then I'm going to have whatever in the background, whatever in the foreground, or whatever that they're standing on. is going to be like obstructing their feet or something like that. They're always swimming in front of something or climbing around on something. So it might take me 40 minutes to get a really good shot, right? But if I get that shot, or sorry, if I get that shot, it's worthwhile. But I look at it this way. If I have a little tank like this and a little light box like this, I can take some tank water out of the tank, net whatever I want to get a good picture of, which might take 10 minutes. It might take 10 minutes to net one of them. But I'm going to come over to the light box, get them in there, and then I'm going to be able to shoot for like 15 minutes and get a ton of good shots. Then just put them back into the tank, and it would be just like having moved them to a bag for a little bit, but it's way easier to shoot it this way because this will illuminate. And let me grab my little plug here. Grabbing a plug, it makes the show super boring when I'm grabbing a plug. I forgot to plug this in. All right. So, okay. Hold on. Let's pause this. Pause. Okay, we're going to go back to the main scene here. Yeah. All right. It's going to get weirdly lit in here. All right. So, as you guys can see, hardly or very well, let me move it a little bit like that. So, there's lights that come down from up above, right, and completely illuminate this area. I have a black background for inside this too, and maybe I should have used that, but I didn't know it would get so blown out in the video. But that light box will essentially allow me the time to be able to just shoot whatever subject I really need to get a good shot of. Now, I can also use this light box for plants or maybe something something else that I want to photograph. And this is all like super bright. It's making it weird in here. There. All right. So, I'll be able to photograph like whatever I want in real detail with just a little tiny setup like this. Make it super easy. And realistically, like I said, I already had this acrylic lying around. And then so that's really not going to cost anything. And then on top of that, my basic investment, like I said, was my birthday money. This was $13. The crystal ball was $10. So I spent $23 for my birthday, and I'll have a bunch of fun little projects to do here with, doing some photography. And, so not only can I photograph fish really easily, but I can also photograph some weird stuff with the little crystal ball. And some people are asking, am I doing this without clamps? I'm actually gluing it all into place, and then I clamp it together, which is just a time thing. And like I said, I was trying to build an aquarium in 30 minutes or less, and I basically hit the mark. I mean, it's not exact, but I think it was about 38 minutes total of what I was messing around with this. So I got close. But I also had a flood somewhere in there because I was trying to fill the aquarium at the same time. So it would be hard to calculate exactly how long it took me to actually put this together because I was like, oh my God, there's a flood over here. Which, totally my fault, 100% my fault. It wasn't anybody else's fault. It's me. I did that. I turned on the water and then just, like I'm too cool for remembering the fact that the water's over there filling up, the reef. Which, that's life sometimes, you guys. That's just life sometimes. But I think it came out fairly well for something that went super fast. I am realizing that I'm going to build a little bit of a smaller one. So when I build the next smaller one, I'll get more in-depth shots, and I'll probably make a short video out of that. Just because this is a little bit oversized for my super tiny light box. I do someday want to get a bigger light box, but the bigger light box that is out there for sale is like $140, and I just don't have that right now because I need to like save money for like food and stuff in Michigan, you know. So that's my main concern right now, is just to make sure I have money for either taxi cabs or food or whatever. So I'm sticking with this little light box. I have tested it out a little bit. I don't think that it's the best thing ever. I mean, it's super flimsy, it's super cheap, but it is going to work for a while. And I'm pretty satisfied with my $13 investment. You know what I mean? So, but I am going to build a smaller one. And when I build the smaller one, I'll go way more in depth on a short video. So yeah, Becca's saying, please put a 10-gallon sump on that. I could put a little sump on it. But that's definitely one of those, like I said, you know, I built this thing really quickly to see how fast I could build one. And then on top of that, I also wanted to know, I just wanted to see how it would fit in this little tiny light box. And it does fit well, but I think I was a little overzealous by making it 6" by 6" by 6". So I think the next one I'm going to make will probably be like 4.5 by 4.5 by 4.5. So I think technically, what is this thing? 6" by 6" by 6". So this is a half gallon? Yeah, I think it's a half gallon, right? I think. I don't know. I'd have to do the math on that. But I think it's a little half-gallon tank. But I could put a sump on it. I'm gangster like that. I could easily drill this thing and put some bulkheads in it, but huge waste of time because I don't want this thing to be set up permanently. And I think if I put a sump on it, I'd just leave it set up all the time so I could just laugh. But boy, howdy, that's a good idea, and maybe I will do that. I think one of the projects that might be coming up is I might be getting rid of the reef. Which is probably going to be disappointing to some people, but I just feel like, honestly, like the reef just takes so much of a back burner all the time because of how weirdly wonky I am with the planted tanks all the time. So I'm thinking, I'm considering about whether or not I'm going to get rid of the 180, because there might be a reefer out there that would be more enthusiastic for doing a reef tank in that, and it's not getting the kind of attention that I think it should be getting. You know what I mean? So that's where I'm at as far as that plan goes. But I think the cool thing with that is that I'll be able to build some sumps and stuff, and I think people will be looking forward to that. Why am I right in front of the camera? There we go. See, that's where editing the video comes in handy, you guys. I ran out of time for editing today, so we're sort of editing on the fly. SeaTac's new bumper sticker is put a sump on it. Yeah, I think this would be considered just a pico tank, right? Because it's about 1 gallon, right? I think the Ultra Pico tank would be a little bit smaller than this one. But I could definitely make some Ultra Pico tanks, and maybe I'll do that. Maybe I'll make some little tiny tanks, just as kind of a goof. Actually, kind of fun to make videos about. So maybe I'll do that coming up here shortly. Maybe I'll work on. I'm thinking out loud. Got to stop thinking out loud and just talk about what's going on. Probably the only time you'll ever hear of a 6" by 6" aquarium referred to as too large. That's perfect, Savannah. Yeah, it actually is a little bit too large. I think, like I said, then the version 2.0 will be 4.5 by 4.5 by 4.5. And then I think it'll be a little bit, I think that'll be a little bit more accommodating for my little tiny $13 light box here. And I think it'll work out I think it'll work out pretty good, or pretty well. Pretty good, pretty well. Pretty good, pretty well. And then I'll be able to, I'll probably do a little photography tutorials on that. To be really honest with you guys, we gotta talk for a second about me being a crazy person, and one of the reasons I'm in recovery. You know what I mean? And those of you out there that are always confused about like why I'm like, dude, I'm sober, bro, and let me check. Hold on, where is it? There it is. 1,434 days sober, dudes. Digging it. I'm starting to get this Cal Ripken style run going here. You know what I mean? I'm starting to get this Cal Ripken thing going on, which is dope. It's dope. But here's one of the crazy things that just rattles around in my head, right? Vicky Toria got me the best lens I've ever owned in my life for my birthday a couple months ago, right? And I am hugely grateful for that. It's amazing. I love shooting with this lens. It's fantastic and so amazing. It's like one of the most generous presents I've ever gotten in my entire life. So here's how crazy my brain is. I'm like, oh, sweet. I'll probably get another lens for my birthday. Like, again, like on the same freaking year. Like, what's wrong with my brain? So that, like, for some reason, I was a little bit disappointed when I didn't. It's so crazy. Like, that's how messed up my brain is sometimes. And this is why I write stuff down. This is why I take notes. This is why I make lists. This is why I go to meetings to talk to people, you know, because I could basically, like, I can easily get that kind of stuff in my head somehow, like a crazy person, and then be like, I'm all sad now. Like, because this weird thing I invented in my mind never happened. So, I guess the reason I'm sharing that today is that I just wanted to pass on to you guys that, like, just as a reminder, it's a reminder to myself, like, don't dwell on that kind of stuff. It's just the nature of being a human. Like, it's just part of being a human that we have to deal with that kind of stuff. So, yeah, that's life. So just trying to share a little bit of that with y'all. But, oh my gosh, we've got a super chat here to deal with because it's from Eric Gone Mad. And he says along those lines, super chat style. You know what? I probably did say along those lines, and boy howdy have I been trying to not say along those lines and failing miserably because I still do it to this day. I don't know. Maybe at some point I'll be able to get over that and stop saying along those lines, but seems doubtful at this point. Lexi V says he's going to start a new trend of super tiny tanks. Oh man, I wouldn't be starting that trend. That trend's been going on for a long time, and I would not be able to take credit for starting a trend of super tiny tanks. That's been ongoing for a long time, you guys. That wouldn't be me. Matter of fact, I saw a super tiny tank on George Farmer's channel the other day, and it's like next level. Ed's Fish is saying, fire, that's a step no other YouTubers show, and I was totally unaware of. Yes, it's actually called flame polishing. This is how you get a real super clear edge. Oftentimes people don't show off doing this because it is potentially dangerous and you can ruin your product. But I feel like there's no reason for me not to show you guys. I think most people would recognize the fact that shooting fire at acrylic is... there is potential for danger. So, I don't know. I feel like it goes without saying, but yeah, you could ruin your project by burning it. But as you can see, some scuff marks there and stuff because I didn't run this through the router table, which typically, like, you know, on a display tank and stuff like that, yeah, I would be running a router on all the edges and all the seams and all that kind of stuff. I'd be measuring 3 times. I'd be putting everything on the jig table. I've built jigs. I would have put all the clamps and everything like that in place, and blah blah blah. There would have been a ton of prep stuff going in. That would have gone in had I been building a tank like for somebody or something like that. But this tiny tank is on purpose just for taking pictures and stuff. Excuse me, that went in the wrong pipe. Dan Squires just posted George Farmer's channel onto into the chat, in case you don't know who George Farmer is. The Zombie Drummer with a super chat, 1434. Well, thank you, Zombie Drummer. That's very, very generous, my guy. I appreciate it. I'll throw that right back in there to making some more videos and stuff. Thanks, dude. Zombie Drummer's huge supporter of the show now. He's moved into upper echelon, next level. Next level. Ashley Taylor says, sticking on with a 5-pound super chat from Ashley Taylor. Thank you. Stick it on Amazon. BioOrb. Get 50 pounds for a third of a gallon. Just put it on Amazon. It will hold 99 fish. No filter needed. You'll sell thousands. Happy birthday, by the way. That's pretty good. I imagine that I probably would lose my Amazon. I'd probably lose my Amazon affiliate and all that kind of stuff if I did something like that. I don't think that would stay under the radar for all that long. I think I would get reported pretty quickly if I was selling these on Amazon. But those of you interested in the possibility of like building your own and whatnot, hopefully this video, it not being like super. I'm not explaining everything that you might or might not need, but and I'm not explaining every step super well. But hopefully it gives you an idea of what you got and what you want to do. If you maybe have some extra parts and stuff like that, you could build a super cheap one like this. Martha Canary says, "Can you demo building a glass aquarium in 30 minutes?" Okay, thanks. Bye. Yeah, I could. But one of the big issues with a glass aquarium is that it will take 9 days to cure, typically, in my environment here. I don't know, you might be in the desert, or you might be in the Antarctica. I don't know, wherever you might be. But it does take about 9 days for them to cure here, typically, all the way. Obviously, it would be a little bit different if I was using, if I had an area that was like inside or something like that. I could probably get them to cure a little bit quicker. But that's the big issue. I don't build glass tanks anymore. Building glass tanks actually is ridiculously... I don't want to make anybody feel bad if I say that building glass tanks is ridiculously easy, but it is pretty darn easy. It's pretty much set it and forget it. You can cut the glass yourself if you want. You can polish the glass yourself if you want. But you're not going to save a ton of money doing it that way. So if you have a local glass company that will cut you plate glass, it pretty much is just assemble it. That's pretty much it. And I do have some old videos of me like putting some tanks together, but I don't think that they were really like step by step or anything like that. Back then, a lot of the videos I made were sort of just like, hey, here's what's going on. This is what I'm doing, blah, 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 But I could build an aquarium, a glass aquarium in like 30 minutes or something like that. But I just don't build acrylic tank glass tanks anymore. It's just not. I just don't find it to be really like useful for me. I don't know. Let's see. HDC 86 is asking, for a 20 high tank running 2 foot by 4 foot aquaponics bed, how would you stock it? Something like that with just a 20 high, which is pretty small tank like that. I would run something small. I would run guppies or mountain minnows or something along those lines, because you can't grow tilapia up. You really couldn't put like koi or goldfish or anything like that. So I would probably do something like, mountain minnows or guppies or something like that you could breed down there and use that 20-gallon to your advantage to get some breeding and stuff like that, and not just run the aquaponics off of it. Dan Squire says, I asked my glass suppliers here, and they wanted 120 pounds, that's money, for the glass for a 1x1x2. Just cheaper to buy the tank. Yeah. Oftentimes like glass tanks like really aren't that like effective. If you're going to be doing DIY or something like that, it's not that effective to like build your own. And the big reason for that is it's just like the manufacturers out there that make them now, whether it's, whatever company it is, doesn't matter. But like the dollar per gallon sale just blows that out of the water, like with anything that you could build. You certainly wouldn't be saving any money building like 20 longs, because by the time you actually got it done, and not to mention the fact that it's got to sit around for at least a week and cure, it's going to be occupying space while it cures, which means you can't be doing anything like directly in that area where, even just the spot where it's sitting, you can't really be doing anything else. So it definitely is going to be in the way. Big Texas Tanks is late, but he's going to catch a replay. Well, thank you very much. The D. Thomas CG with a $2 super chat saying, good day, sir. I said good day. Well, thank you. Thank you, D. Thomas. James Caswell says, I lost money making an acrylic tank. I don't know. I don't know how you would do that. That's confusing to me. Unless I guess maybe you could have just bought one, maybe, that was less than how much it cost to make one. But the used market, you can often find stuff out there, but I can never find what I'm specifically looking for on the used market. That's the big problem for me. I find tanks all the time on the used market, but it's always like, oh, this is a 135 or a 140 or a 90 or something. And yeah, I'm looking for specific sizes, and those just never show up on the used market. I've seen them on the used market, but it's just so rare that I ever see them ever show up that oftentimes I have to make my own. Big Texas Tanks. I'll also may be able to get my hands on some Scootin' Fruity Puffers. Oh, man. It's a good time. They are a really high-priced fish right now because of the breeding is only been done like twice, I think. Maybe 3 times now. What's the word? Like, yeah, they've only been bred in an aquarium like I think 3 times now, but they are really high priced. So if you could definitely get your hands on some of them, then I certainly would, just by the sake of just how high priced they are, and that maybe you could get them to be breeding and stuff. That's man, if you're into puffers, you're into freshwater puffers, I'd get those Scootin' Fruities if you can, because they're really high price right now. And, maybe you get them and maybe you breed them, and that's a great investment. Or maybe you get them and you just enjoy them for a really long time, because they don't get super big, so you can keep them in a pretty reasonably sized tank. So if you can get them, awesome. Dan Squire says, I found a place that builds custom tanks. They have loads of cutoffs and about 500 secondhand ones. 500 secondhand, like, tanks? Cool. Tell them to send me all of their 120s. Let's see. Oh, Famous Jones has got some Tequila Sunrise Guppy babies. Congratulations. I'm still waiting on my female to breed, and I just don't see it happening at this point. I don't know. She's probably not going to throw a fry. I bet you she's reabsorbed them. But it could just definitely be a reality of the situation. Gone Mad with the $2 super chat saying, good job on the table saw, no missing digits. People have been here a long time know that I cut my thumb off with a miter saw a little while ago. Actually, it was like almost exactly a year ago now. Because I do recall it was freshly cut off on my birthday last year. So it has been a year. Happy to say it's pretty much back to full function. It's a little janky looking, but I don't know. It's still kind of doing its thing. BC Fish Room's asking what footprint are the 120s you covet. They are 4 foot long by 2 foot front to back and 2 foot tall. That is the size of aquarium that I want. I thought I found one a while ago. Wasn't real. Thought I found another one a while ago. Wasn't real. Thought I found one this last weekend. And then the guy was like, it's a 120. And then he sent me the measurements. And I'm like, you have a 135. That's not even a 120. And then he's like, well, I don't know what the measurements are. And I'm like, okay, why are you sending me messages that say you don't know the measurements? Go measure it. And then, he's like, well, you can come pick it up. And I'm like, I don't understand what's happening right now. And so that's one of the issues that I have with, dealing with the secondhand market sometimes. Like, you just get people that are weird, and it was a really weird exchange. And I thought, like I said, I thought I found one because the guy had advertised, oh, we've got a 120 here that's acrylic, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, oh, cool. Then he didn't know what the measurements were. He didn't know what kind of acrylic it was made out of. Had no clue what was going on. Except he kept messaging me and telling me that I could come pick it up. And I'm like, I need to know what sizes it is. And then he's like, well, I don't really know what size it is. Then I was like, then message me back after you measure it. And then he was mad that I was like, measure it with a tape measure. And he was like, I don't understand. This isn't my problem. You come pick it up. And I'm like, I'm not going to come pick up something that I don't know what size it is. And it's weird. Like, that's just weird. Like, sometimes you just get these really weird, unreasonable people. And I'm like, I don't, then I just got really tired and was like, I don't want to deal with this anymore. So I blocked him from my email, and then we don't have to worry about that anymore. Michael Trevino just sold a 120 that size. Well, was it glass? Because I want the acrylic version of that. Just like my 150, I want one like that. Again, And realistically, if there's like a tank fabricator out there, I'll just put a couple of them in the mail, and I'll talk all about your tank fabrication. Which, by the way, I tried to do that with some local guys, and that just didn't work out because, they thought they just had too many orders already. And, so it was a little bit interesting. But, yeah, chances are I'm probably just going to have to build some of them. I'm probably just going to have to build some of them, and which I'm looking forward to doing anyhow. So, but at the same time, I got to figure out what's going on with the 180, and so then I'm going to have to deal with the used market, and I'm just going to put it up locally with some of the local fish groups that I know, and just be like, hey, if anybody's interested in this tank, let me know. There are some local guys that do a ton of big reef aquariums, so I'm gonna hit those guys up first and just be like, hey, is anybody looking for this tank? If they are, let me know. I'll figure it out. Blah blah blah. Let's work out something that works for both groups of people here, and then I'd most likely, you know, take that money to go build some new tanks. Master Hacker V says, hey Joel, I need your wisdom, and there's no question or anything. Okay. Gaddis Aquatics has gotta go. Hopefully everyone has a wonderful day. James H says, this is Diana, Jim's wife. Your paintings, are they oil? No, I don't do oil paintings anymore. I used to when I was way young, little tiny guy. More often than not, my tanks or my paintings are out of acrylic and enamel, and often added mediums. So it's a combination of material, but I don't do oil anymore. It's you know, for one of those same reasons that like the same reason I don't build glass tanks is because cure time with oil paintings, it's a nightmare. It's gonna take forever for it to dry. It's like always wet forever. And it doesn't dry, and I work pretty rapidly, so I like my paint to be dry and dry out pretty fast. And I use a ton of medium in my paints, and I also use high-end liquid acrylics and stuff. So that's pretty much what I do with my paintings. Bentley Pascal says, if your salt tank wasn't so tall. You know, Bentley, I was even thinking about it, like maybe we could just swap tanks, because he has a 150. I don't know. But he doesn't want to swap the tank, because the 180 is too tall. I definitely had thought about it, though. Bare Bottom Aquariums is asking, did your 60-gallon low boys bow at all? And if not, what is the best thickness for them? No, those didn't bow at all. They were glass. So those people out there trying to figure out what size those aquariums are, they were 48 by 24 by, I think, 11.5 tall. So they might have been 58 gallons or something like that, but I just call them 60 just to round it out and have it make sense. And those were glass, and those were 7/16 thick glass, so just under a ½ inch is, I find, the best thickness to work with anything that is under like 90 gallons and under. Like, you'll be pretty fine and dandy with 7/16. Which doesn't seem that big, but then when you actually hold it in your hand, you're like, whoa, that's kind of thick, but not crazy thick. You know, maybe that answers it. Vexing Cat with a $5 super chat here saying, is there a good way to clean up a blemish on a tiny acrylic tank? Do I have I do have a couple of Dremels. Is there a way that I could use that? Wet sanding is actually going to be your best way to do scratch removal and stuff like that. I will be doing some videos on that fairly soon, because I have a big giant scratch on the front of my 240 that never really showed up before until I started using the Fluval lights, which now shows up pretty darn well. So I'm actually going to have to be polishing that out, and I'll be showing you guys how to do that. But I can explain it here pretty quickly, is that you start out with 600 grit sandpaper, and you're going to wet sand, which means you got to have a bunch of water. And once you got all that water in there, then you're able to utilize the water as you're sanding medium with 600 grit sandpaper. Then you're going to move up to 1,000 grit sandpaper. Then you're going to move up to 2,000 grit sandpaper. Then you're going to move up to 3,000 grit sandpaper. If you can find a higher grit sandpaper than that, which is typically the 5,000 grit, which is for polishing, the clear coat in your paint. So all these sandpapers can be found at a auto paint store, not just like Shucks or O'Reilly's or any of that kind of stuff. You actually have to find it at an auto body supply store is where you're going to have to go to find that, or Amazon's or something. Yeah, I think nowadays you can just order it off of Amazon, but you have to find it off of there, and you work progressively into these higher and higher grits. Then you're going to get the Novus 1, 2, and 3, and you're going to buff out with the 1, 2, and 3, and by that point in time, you should have the scratch removed. If not, you might have to just throw out the tank. I don't know. But it is a little bit, it's frustrating and time-consuming. Just to let anybody out there know that is like, oh, I'm going to polish up this old acrylic tank. It's not that big of a deal. I saw a guy do it this one time on the YouTubes or whatever. Just be aware that it is a pain. It is time-consuming and frustrating at the same time. I can do it. I have done it. I'll probably be doing it again. But in that video, I'm going to tell you the same thing. Hey, this is a big pain. This is a big pain in the buns. And if you're not looking forward to doing something that's a big pain in the buns, I wouldn't get into it. You know, you could realistically, you might be able to hire somebody for a pretty affordable price, or it'll just be super expensive. It'd be one or the other. You know, so you might be able to just look around on the used market and find something that is around, you know, that's a good looking tank that hasn't been scratched up, and find something like that for a good price if you aren't being super finicky about size like I am, which I get it. I'm a big pain in the butt. I get it. I know. Yes, I am. I'm aware. And trying to find the specific tanks that I want for my fish room has turned into you know, kind of a pain. Hold on, I have to these guys just keep messaging. I'm live right now. Vicky is messaging me and messaging me and messaging me, so I have to message her back and let her know that I'm live on the internet right now with the internets. And so that's what I was doing. I just had to message her back. But we've only got about 10-15 minutes left in the show here. I have to cut it off a little bit early today because, like I said, I have to get the chicken to the vet. We got this chicken. I got to get her over there to get her looked at and make sure that everything is going good. So we got about 10 minutes left, and I'm just going to answer questions out of the chat here for the last little bit. You guys saw my light box. You saw my crystal ball. You saw my half an hour tank build. Is it good? No. Would I pay anybody money for this? No. Is it going to work for what I want it to do? Absolutely. So, is it going to work? Yes. Does it look good? No. But it's going to work great. And like I said, I'm going to build version 2.0 with some close-ups and some little better explanations of what I'm using and the products and all that kind of stuff. And then you guys will be able to check that out. But I just wanted to see if I could build one in like record-breaking time. And it actually works, holds water, and it'll do what I need it to do. And in the meantime, I think realistically I'm going to end up using this just for like nuts and bolts and something in the shop, because I'm going to build a bunch of the 6-inch ones like this that are just kind of janky and fugly like this, and you know, just throw like nuts and bolts and just miscellaneous stuff that's in the shop just up underneath the shelves underneath there, and just use these as kind of like a little organizers, because I can build them the exact same size, and that will not be a big deal. But it'll definitely work for what I want it to do. In the meantime, take some pictures of some goofy fish in there, because I want to do some highlight on a little bit of photography as things come in and out of my fish room, and be able to get, you know, just some really cool action shots. So, Tampa Tom is asking about low-tech stem plants. Low-tech stem plants that I would always recommend is any Ludwigia varietal. So here's a really cool thing. I've seen Ludwigia tanks that only had Ludwigia in them like sort of Dutch style. So you like different layers and all the different kinds that you could get. I mean, you get round leaf, narrow leaf, repens. Gosh, I didn't realize I was going to be naming Ludwigia types. But there's so many types of Ludwigia, and they are perfect for they are perfect for like a low tech tank that has some has a good amount of light on it, nice and low tech. You don't need any CO2, you don't need anything crazy like that. Oh my gosh, James Caswell. Thank you for the reminder there in the chat. I missed your super chat, man. I'm sorry about that. I normally have the little thing over here, and I'm sorry about that, man. My apologies. My apologies. Let me hop on here and say I'm sorry, and we shall answer your question with an answer, not a question. We got a £2 super chat from James Caswell, who's saying, want to put a sump on a 30-gallon minimum size. Now, a 30-gallon is a little bit weird because the footprint underneath isn't going to carry very many things, right? You know, just because they won't fit lengthwise, they won't fit widthwise. Because bear in mind, the sump generally is smaller because it fits inside the stand underneath. It fits underneath the aquarium. So generally speaking, you know, the sides of the stands and stuff like that will cut in on the footprint that you'd be able to put underneath. The sump that you could put under it could be 100 million gallons. It really wouldn't matter. But the size that I would put under a 30 is probably just a 10-gallon because a 10-gallon is really easy to find. They don't, you know, they'll be able to fit underneath that footprint. Typically, I wouldn't build a sump that is smaller than a 20, personally. But just on a little 30-gallon tank like that, a 10-gallon sump would be wildly helpful. You could just be running it with about 5 gallons worth of water in it, and that would be a big help, you know, for a 30-gallon tank to, you know, if you think about it, if you take a 30-gallon tank and add an extra 5 gallons of volume, that's an additional, what's the math on that? 17% more water? Or is it 16.5 or something? Is that right? No. Is that right? 16? Might be 16%. Or is it 13%? Wait, what? What happened? Oh, man. I don't know. But it brings up the percentage of water up quite a bit. If you think about it, just brings the water volume up pretty well. And, oh, man, I missed another super chat. Oh, gosh, I'm sorry, guys. We'll definitely answer that real quick. But, you know, even just that 5 gallons of water is going to bring up, you know, that water volume that you got going on, you know, quite a bit. And then will definitely help out the system, especially with how much biomedia you can put down there. You can put the heater down there, all that stuff, and we'll be pretty good. So I'd go for a 10. Maybe you could fit a 20 standard under there, because a 30-gallon tank, I can't remember if a 30-gallon breeder will fit a 20 long under it, or a standard 30. A standard 30 will, I think a standard 30 will not fit a 20 long under it, but it might fit a standard 20-gallon under it. So I would see availability on what you can find for cheap, because you are going to make it into a sump. So I would find a cheap tank and then go from there. The Pork Slinger is asking, 30-gallon sump okay for a 150? Yeah. A 30-gallon sump would be okay, but you have a good chance of overflow when it turns off. Now, I missed a super chat here. I missed multiple super chats today. Guys, I'm just apparently talking about my own nonsense, and I apologize. Master Hacker V or Master Hacker 5. Maybe Roman numeral V, aka 5. The Master Hacker says, hi, any recommended prolific plants/fish to grow in a 6-inch by 4-foot by 8-foot outdoor pools for summer in Zone 6A. I want to trade/sell the extras at the end of the season. Well, as I'm super confused by these measurements, because if it's 4 foot by 8 foot by 6 inch, so is it only 6 inches deep? So maybe Master Hacker can explain that. If it's 6 inches deep, I couldn't tell you anything that should be living in an outdoor pool that's only 6 inches deep. The summertime, the sun will just annihilate the temperature in a 6-inch deep pool like that outside. So, I mean, your guess would almost be as good as mine if it's only 6 inches deep, because that is, I mean, the temperature swings are going to be crazy. I realistically would only in a tank in a shallow pool like that, I would only recommend trying to do some plants. But my big concern, where's Zone 6A? I'm trying to think of where Zone 6A is. Let me see. I don't know that off the top of my head. Let's look it up at Urban Farmer. 6A is through the middle of Midwest, Nevada, Eastern Washington. Oh, gosh. That's going to be next level. That's going to be next level hot. That strip right there through the summer. I know all those areas are all super hot during the summer. Yeah. So that's going to be a big issue. The biggest issue is going to be the wild temperature fluctuations that you got in through those areas. Is that, you know, it's probably down to 50 degrees at night and then 100 at 110, 110 during the day. So that is going to be a pretty wild environment for the for that situation. People are asking if you attach them to a 300-gallon sump. Yeah, I mean, if you could attach it to a large water volume that will keep the temperature down and you can keep the flow pretty good, that would help. But I mean, you just have to remember that the sun's radiation is just going to be super compressed into that 6-inch space. One of the things that will keep the water stable is actually depth, because the water actually filters out a lot of the light and knocks off some of that the heat from the radiation of the sun. But there are a lot of pond plants and shallow plants and things that you could put out there. I would almost consider like putting the fish in the 300-gallon sump, if you can keep the temperature pretty good in the sump, and then grow your plants like on rafts in those 4x8 by 6-inch outdoor pools. That's what I would do. Is I would be growing emergent plants on rafts. So if you were to actually look in for some aquaponics systems, I mean, you could be growing food that you could eat. You know, you could be growing like bib lettuce, spinaches. Well, spinach is going to be too bright in that area. Too much direct sun for like spinach and stuff. But you could do a lot of cool lettuce. You could do tomatoes. You could do all that kind of stuff. And then if you're looking for like pond plants and stuff, the unfortunate part is that here's the thing that people need to understand a little bit about selling off plants that could grow in ponds and stuff. There is nobody to sell them to in fall when you're looking at the winter coming up. The only time to sell them is in the springtime when people are starting up their ponds. That's when people are going to buy them. Stores won't buy them at the end of fall. I don't think you can export them to other countries. So I don't think that you could export them from the United States to anywhere else. I don't think that that's a possibility. I mean, you have to go through a lot of licensing and export import nonsense, and that's a lot of tomfoolery. But no one really in the States is going to buy a bunch of stuff at the end of the fall. So here's realistically what I would looking to do if I had a setup like that. I would look to be growing maybe like Renekii and stuff like that, like a bunch of red plants. That's red stems. Like sword plants wouldn't be good. Anubias wouldn't be good. Like one thing I would certainly consider if that was my setup is growing raft pots of like dwarf baby tears. Probably like Repens would be one, but dwarf baby tears is probably what I would look into, is doing rafts with pots of like dwarf baby tears, because you could really be running through those quite quickly, and you could be selling those off. And if you're growing them immersed like that, you're not going to have any snails or algae or anything like that on them, and they will grow really fast, and you could sell them probably to local fish stores or whatever, because you could even just sell them you could just sell them to like local stores and stuff like that, or even just sell off the whole lot at the end of the year to somebody that you were going to send them to. So yeah, I mean, with that being so shallow, that's the big kicker, because there are a ton of plants that I could recommend to grow outside, but not in the 6-inch depth like that. Like they're all gonna get pretty smoked, because the sun is really powerful. I mean, put a par meter on the sun. It is crazy how high the par comes out from the sun. So that's the big thing that I would really be concerned about, is that you'll just burn any plants that are only in that 6 inches of water. Plus the water temperature is going to be crazy off the charts. But if you do have that 300-gallon sump that you were talking about, like if you ran it off that and you could keep the temperature down a bit from that water volume and recycling and probably a little aerating and maybe some fans, that would be pretty good. And then I would consider doing some fish that are pretty low maintenance, for reselling factor. If you had like 300-gallon enclosed sumps, you know, the recommendation I would give if you were trying to resell at the end of the year is the koi. Definitely would be the number one fish, because that's the number one fish that's what I'm doing. So you guys will see me put koi in my pond for the reselling factor, because the way that I look at it is like, let's say building out my pond and operating my pond, let's say the build out costs me $800, right? Plus a bunch of labor and blah, 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 right? And every month it costs an extra $23 in electricity or something, right? So by the end of the year, it's $230 plus the thing, blah, blah, you know, plus whatever, about $300 a year. So let's say it's $300 a year. Now I would need to at least make the resale off of whatever I was doing in there to offset the electricity that I'm not going to get back. Because the pond itself, I'll get enjoyment out of it. So the cost of setting it up, you know, I'll end up enjoying it. So if you just look at it like, you know, buying movie tickets or something like that, I will definitely get like a bunch of movies worth of time enjoying the pond. So I look at it that way, like the build cost, but the operating cost I want to offset, which means if I get a bunch of baby koi, grow them up throughout the season, and even like keep them over the winter or whatever, and then sell them in the springtime when people are buying them, I could easily offset that $300 cost by, like, let's say I buy 100 baby koi at $3.99 a piece or something, right? So let's say that's $400. I grow them up, 20 of them die, I got 80 left, and I sell pretty foot and a half, foot long koi. I sell them for, $40 a pop, and that offsets the operating costs and the food costs and stuff. So that's the way I plan on running it. It just seems to be the best. If you have a market in the area, the koi actually seem to be the best product to be producing, because people probably don't want to eat fish from my aquaponics system, mainly because I'm not licensed for any of that. So even if I was selling them, I could get in trouble if I was selling those. But selling them as a hobbyist to people to put in their tanks, that's not a big deal. They're not going to put them into their body, you know what I mean? So, and we have the grand champion of the day, Mr. Gone Mad himself, with a 2222 super chat. Thank you very much. And he says 33 gallon can't I'm guessing can't do water changes. What gallon per minute would be sufficient? Don't want crazy flow to blow everything away, but not too slow as it takes forever. Bottom of can on wheels to top of tank is 48 inches. Okay, hold on a second. Let me find my water change pump. I'll actually find my water change pump for you. Let me see if I can find this pump. It's the one I use. HF something, and I forget what it is. Do 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 do. Here's the pump. Here's the pump. Yep, this is literally the pump I use right here. I purchased an extra one of these on May 5th, 2015. Oh my gosh, it's almost coming up on a 3-year anniversary with my water change pump, you guys. Right? Then I just have a little valve on it. So here is the link right there to the actual pump that I use. These Rio pumps are awesome. The Rio HF pumps, Hyperflow water pumps, are the best little utility pumps that I have basically ever used. They're just... I hammer these things all the time. I hit them with sticks. I use them constantly. And as Eric was saying, is into the garbage can. I have a garbage can on rolly wheels. That's how I get water around and stuff like that. Especially back in the day when I had like a crazy apartment and stuff, and people were like, "I don't understand why you don't have a Python." And I'm like, well, if you've gone through as many pythons as I have in the years, you will probably definitely get rid of, you'd probably get rid of your pythons too. I had a flood today, which is pretty rare for me these days, but it still happens sometimes. But with the pythons, it happened all the time, and they broke all the time and stuff like that, like never even worked the way that they were supposed to. So I switched a long time ago to utility pumps and the garbage can on wheels method, and then Carson took my garbage cans and never came back, so I had to get different ones. Wherever Carson is, I never forgot. I'll never forget. He did pay me back for them, so it wasn't a big deal. Pretty funny, though. All right, Groomer Girl showing up for the last... Uh-oh. I think I ran long here, you guys. It's 4:52. All right, I'm just going to go for the last couple of minutes here. And we'll just head out. But after about three more minutes, might as well. I'm gonna head over to the vet with the chicken bird. Got to take the chicken bird over to the vet. All right. So we'll run through here, and then that's the way that I do it now, is with that actual pump right there. Hopefully that helps. I just use a nowadays I don't need to use the little adjuster valve anymore, but the vinyl tube that goes right on there, it's like a $2.99 vinyl valve that you can just put in between there and slow it down. I know that like Home Depot has them, Lowe's has them and stuff like that. They're normally like right near where you get the vinyl hose. So if you go to get the vinyl hose, then probably right near there, and you can find the little plastic one, stick that in, and you can just restrict it back and just make it adjustable that way. Mr. Brown. That's that Mr. Brown coffee brought to you by a whole bunch of people that sent me Mr. Brown coffee. Thanks, guys. I appreciate it. Victor and Jimmy and, shoot. Now I feel like a jerk because I forgot the other person that sent me Mr. Brown's. It's in there. It's in there somewhere. Oh. No, I can't remember. I don't want to say the wrong name. But it was the person that sent me the Mr. Browns and said it was super hard to find them on my wish list. So I upped the Mr. Browns to the quantity of 100. So, but hopefully that helps you guys all out today. And hopefully everybody has a fantastic Monday. Obviously, it's been a little bit of chaos here for me, but nothing bad. Nothing worried about. No physical harm. Nothing permanently damaged, so it's not a big deal. And we'll be back on Wednesday here. But you know what's crazy? If you don't want to wait till Wednesday, you can wait till tomorrow. And I will be on the Real Fish Talk with Kobe from the Aquarium Co-op. I'm his co-host. He's my co-host. And we do the Real Fish Talk on Tuesdays at 3 o'clock Pacific Standard Time, which I believe is currently -7 GMT, wherever you're at out in the world. So, James Lizer. Was it James Lizer that sent it? I think it was James. But yeah, if you can't wait till Wednesday, I'll be back on the Real Fish Talk tomorrow, and it will be Koopy and myself, and we'll have a great time. We'll have a great time on there. Hopefully to see all y'all there, but otherwise I'll be back here on Thursday, and I'll be talking to y'all later. Has anybody seen that button around here?